All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to tell you a story. No, we're going to go inside the mind of a great teacher. Take apart a lesson piece by piece and really figure out what that secret sauce is. You know, the hidden structure that makes learning actually stick. So let's start with a really big question. How do you teach a 6-year-old about something as huge and, well, abstract as trust? It's a huge challenge for parents, for teachers, for anyone really. How do you make that idea real and unforgettable for a little kid? This is where the magic of great teaching really comes in. So yeah, let's dive in. And what we're going to use as our blueprint today isn't just some theory. It's a real first-grade lesson plan for The Boy Who Cried Wolf. We're going to break it down and see exactly how a master teacher takes this simple fable and turns it into this incredibly powerful lesson about, being a person.
Okay, so every single great lesson starts right here. Part 1, the hook. Think about it. Before any learning can happen, you've got to get their attention, right? You have to build a bridge from what you're teaching to their own lives. Let's take a look at how a great teacher actually does that.
And this is just brilliant. A great teacher doesn't just jump into the story. Nope. They start with the kid. They ask a simple question. Have you ever played a trick on someone? And just like that, bam. Every kid's brain is firing up with a personal story. It instantly makes them the expert, and it connects them right to the theme of the lesson before the book is even open. So clever.
Now here's something that's really, really smart. Look at this. Before they even get to the story, the teacher defines the most important word, trust. Believing someone is telling the truth. This isn't just a vocabulary quiz. It's like a lens. The teacher is basically handing each kid a magnifying glass and saying, okay, I want you to look for this in the story we're about to read. It totally frames the whole experience. And they don't stop there. There's one more piece to set the stage. The teacher defines what a fable is, a special story that teaches us a lesson. See what's happening here? This sets expectations. It's telling the students, hey, your job isn't just to sit there and listen. Your job is to be a detective. You're on a mission to find the problem and the lesson. And boom, just like that, you've turned a bunch of passive listeners into active searchers. All right, so the hook is set, the kids are engaged. Now we move into the second and super important phase, the scaffold. And that's exactly what it sounds like. The teacher is building a support structure, a temporary framework that's going to help the students climb up to a much deeper understanding of the story. And the way they do this is with a classic, super powerful teaching model. You might have heard of it. I do, we do, you do. It's so simple, but so effective. First, the teacher shows them how it's done. That's the I do. Then they all do it together, the we do. And finally, when they're ready, the students try it on their own, the you do. It's just a fantastic, proven way to get kids to master a new skill. So let's look at that I do phase. The teacher doesn't just say, okay, retell the story. That's way too vague. Instead, she shows them exactly what a good retell looks like. And to make this abstract idea of sequence something a 6-year-old can actually see and touch, she uses this amazing visual metaphor, the story train. First up, she models the beginning. She explains it's like the engine of the train. It's the part that gets the whole story moving. In the beginning, the boy was bored watching his sheep. See? It's clear, it's simple, it's direct. That's the engine. Next, you've got the middle car. This is where you put all the main events, the action, the drama. In the middle, he tricked the villagers by shouting wolf when there was no wolf. She's literally showing them how the story chugs along the track. And then, of course, you have the end of the train, the caboose. And that's where we see the fallout, the consequences of everything that happened. In the end, a real wolf came, but nobody believed him. And just like that, she's laid out a perfect, complete, logical sequence. The kids now have a crystal clear model of what they need to do. Okay, so now the responsibility starts to shift. We're moving into the we do phase. The teacher isn't the star of the show anymore, she's more like a guide. The whole class works together as a team, using a story map to break the fable down into its most important parts. This way, everybody is building that understanding at the same time. And they start with the basics, right? Building that shared foundation. First question, who's in this story? Together, they figure it out. The boy, the villagers, the wolf. Simple. Now everyone's on the same page. Next up, where did all this go down? They ground the story in a real place, on a grassy hill near a village. These might seem like simple little facts, but they're actually the building blocks you need for the deeper thinking that's about to come. Okay, and this is the crucial moment in this whole phase. A great teacher guides the kids to a huge realization. In this story, the box that usually says solution is, well, it's actually a consequence. That's a pretty big analytical jump for a first grader, right? They're making a direct link between what the boy did and the bad thing that happened. It's cause and effect, plain and simple. And through this whole guided, collaborative process, the kids naturally arrive at the story's main point. The teacher didn't just tell them the moral, no. They figured it out for themselves. They pieced it together. And because they built it, they own it. That's so important. And that brings us to the final phase, which honestly is the most exciting part of the whole lesson, the spark. This is where the real, deep learning catches fire. It's that magic moment when the students go from just getting the story to actually applying its lesson. This is the you do part. And here it is. This is what separates a good lesson from an absolutely exceptional one. The teacher doesn't just end with the moral. She pushes them beyond the last page of the book with this powerful, open-ended question. It challenges the kids to think creatively, to solve a problem, and maybe most importantly, to feel some empathy. So you might look at this and think, oh, it's just a drawing activity. But it is so much more than that. It's a brilliant, kind of sneaky assessment. By asking the kids to imagine how the boy could fix things and rebuild that trust, the teacher is checking if they really get the concept on a deep, deep level. The student isn't just a listener anymore. Now they're a part of the story, trying to help fix a problem. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. We've just picked apart the how of this lesson, but now we've got to talk about the why. Why does all this careful planning, this structure, why does it matter so much? Well, it's because this lesson plan is basically a masterclass in what great teaching looks like. It connects to the real world. Remember that opening question? It uses powerful visuals like the story train. It gets kids working together with the story map. And the whole thing is built so that every single kid in that classroom can get it. And that is the biggest takeaway here. A lesson like this, it's not really about a boy and a wolf. It's about teaching kids these huge fundamental skills, how to organize your thoughts, how to understand that actions have consequences, and how to see the world from someone else's point of view. I mean, these are skills for life. And in the end, that's the real difference between just telling someone something and actually teaching them. A truly great lesson doesn't just dump information on you. It gives you the tools, the mental framework so you can build your own understanding. It turns a simple story into a lens that a kid can use to make sense of the world long, long after the school bell rings.